All right, so for today, we're gonna go through a new warm-up for today, and we're gonna start with mobility, then we're gonna get into some of the patterns that we'll be doing later on the workout. So we're gonna start with your 90-90 position and work a little bit on hip mobility. So our front leg is 90, my back leg is 90. I'm gonna take my chest, and I can point it maybe like towards my kneecap, towards my shin, or even away from my kneecap. So just find the area where I feel like I get the most stretch in the back side of my left hip. So I'm gonna start getting long, and I'm gonna think about kind of if I had a back pocket on my left side, that back pocket would be going up towards the sky as I get into the stretch. Now from there, I'm just gonna go for 5 breaths. Inhale, long exhale. It's a nice belly breath. Then I'm gonna go one more breath. Decided to do the warm out outside instead of inside today. It's a pretty nice day in Chicago. Now, after I do the 5 breaths, I'm gonna think about pulling my chest down towards the floor with almost like my inner thigh, and then closing this angle, then pushing away the angle, coming back, so it's almost kind of like flossing, pulling into the stretch, using the glute to push out of it, pulling into the stretch, and pushing out of it. I'm gonna do that for 5, one more. All right, then from there, I'm gonna switch over to the other side. Same thing, 90-90 position. I'll show you kind of a side angle. Okay, so there, I kind of feel more, maybe on this one, maybe more towards my shin. So coming forward, getting my 5 breaths. Long exhales. And then from there, I'm going to pull into the stretch, then push out of it. I can use the hands as support, or if I want to progress it, I can kind of go no hands, pull into the stretch, push out of the stretch, into the stretch, push out of the stretch, or just use one hand. One more. All right, then I got external rotation, and the next one I'm going to go through internal rotation. So you can use a yoga block. You don't have to use a yoga block, but just something that's going to be kind of between your knees. So I'm going to go here. So my bottom leg is going to be forward towards the camera, and my back leg is going to be obviously behind my front leg. So my other hand is going to be on bony part of my hip, so I can monitor what my hip's doing, because I want to just get this from my hip joint and not from my pelvis. So I'm just going to raise that foot up, little pause, come back down slow towards the floor, then back up, pause, back down slow. I'm going to do 5 of these. So I'm just going through that whole range of motion, and just make sure that you add that little pause at the top, and this like first 10% on the way down is kind of the most important, because that's where you're going to feel and be the weakest. So I'm going to go one more, come up, slow on the way down, then I'm going to go ahead and flip sides. So if you feel a little bit of cramping in the front part of your hip, it's pretty normal, because that's going to be the major muscle that's in some of the glute muscles that are bringing that leg into internal rotation. So I'm here, so I'm going to show you kind of maybe from a little different angle. So from this, so I'm going to raise, little pause, come back down slow, and this here, that pelvis isn't moving. Now coming up, 3, last 2, up, 2, down, slow, last one, up, slow, and then hips are good. So from here we're going to go to an open book, but we're going to do it a little different. We are going to use the yoga block. Like I said, you don't have to use the yoga block, but it just helps kind of lock down the lower half. So we're just moving from the upper half. So from here, lock down, squeezing. Both of my hands are forward. So I'm going to reach forward for the camera, and then I'm going to come up almost like kind of like a shoulder car. And I'm reaching that way with my fingertips. As soon as I get to about like my ear, I'm going to start rolling away from the camera, but with this hand is going to reach for the camera. And as soon as I feel like, where do I feel the most like a little pec stretch, that's where I'm going to keep it. So to me, let's say if this is 0 degrees, it's usually at about like that 30 to 40-ish degrees. So from here, I'm going to use breaths. And I'm thinking about breathing in this right side. 3 more breaths. So I can almost feel like I'm pushing my knees into the floor or to the cement. I'll go 1 more. And then once I finish that, I'm going to come up, slowly over, and then back to middle. Okay. From here, I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to show you also from this angle. So I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to come forward, come up, then open, and I get a little bit more of a pec stretch in this right side than the left. This hand's reaching that way. Breathing. So for some reason, if you get like pain in the front part of the shoulder, sometimes because the rib cage isn't rotating, but the arms, the thumb is kind of still going towards the ground, sometimes you can back off with the hand and just think about breathing in that right side, and the rib cage is rotating and the hand is just going along with it. So find that stretch. We'll go 2 more. You can relax your head. And even on this one, you could probably put a little padding underneath your head if you want. So on this one, from there, we're gonna go to a hip bridge with a reach. So my heels are kind of more underneath my knees. I'm going to bridge and reach, come back down, bridge, reach, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2 more on each side, 2, 2, 1 more, 1, and 1. Okay, so from there, I'm gonna be good with my ground stuff. From there, I'm gonna go to standing right after that. So on this one, I'm gonna do 10 step backs with a little bit of a rotation. I like these to do, if you have a med ball, stability ball, something to put around the arms like you're hugging it, and then to rotate. If you don't, you know, just kind of hug yourself and then rotate. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you from straight on, and I'll show you from a side view. So I'm gonna go feet together, hinge. So it'll look like this. I'll go from this way first. So butt back here. Now I'm going to step back. I'm going to look. It's like my eyes aren't going to not look at something that's probably like 4 feet in front of me. And as I step back, I'm gonna open. 2, 3. So my ribs are working around kind of my neck, similar to a golf swing. I'm also getting in the hip and staying in the hip. So I'm gonna do that for 10. And then from there, I'll stand, and then I'll go to the other side. I'll show you a straight on view. Cars are coming, sorry buddy. All right, anyways. All right, knees bent, butt back. People are getting upset. All right, so same thing, but front rear view. I'm gonna step back and rotate, and you'll notice, like I just noticed, like my right side and rotating right is a lot funkier than going left. No big deal. Act like my pad isn't all screwed up, or my mat's not all screwed up. Rotate. So 10, or you can even step back, rotate. You can go breaths in this position. So if it's difficult for me to rotate to the right, maybe I spend some time holding it, getting some breaths in to gain that rotation. From there, I'm gonna go to lateral lunge. So feet together, I just step the butt back, reach for the inside part of my foot, back up. 2, 3, we're gonna go 5 of them. 4, 5, we'll flip over to the other side. And if you want to, you can do this alternating as well, but we're kind of moving in all planes of movement, not just straight forward. All right, so I think that's maybe 5 or 6. From there is what's called a rotational lunge. So I'm going to show you the progress version, and then I'll show you a regress version from there. So I start my feet together. Okay, hopefully this doesn't move out of the way. So I'm going to step open, chest upright, and then close. 1, 2, so that toe can come up on the front foot. Chest is tall, not towards the floor. And I'm gonna go for 5 of those, 1 more. And then I'm gonna flip around. So I'm like rotating this pelvis around this thigh or this femur. So I'm gonna open, close, open, close, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay, so you can also just do a rotational squat, which basically just takes the step away. So I can go forward. If I step back, so like my heel, if I drew a line straight back and it would hit this heel, I would want to go 1 foot out, then maybe 2 feet out. Then my butt sits back, hands reach forward and come back up. So I can do it that way as well if the rotations don't work. If you have trouble doing the rotational one, what I would just do, I just go into 10 squats. Just normal bodyweight squats, just pushing the arms out and just going through 10. From there, we got the joints moved around, body should be feeling pretty warm. From there, we're gonna go to little hip switches. Now, if I have space, I can go to bounce, bounce, turn, and back, bounce, bounce, turn, bounce, bounce, turn, turn. So maybe if I have 10 yards, and I'll do that twice. So getting the calves warmed up, getting a little springy, for doing like some lower body plyometrics. Now, if you don't have space, I would literally just go into hip rotations here, just in place for about 20 seconds. So that's your warm up. Do your warm up. Head out to your power work, your strength work, whatever else you have planned afterwards. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully there's not too much distractions out here. So get to work.